It's Monday, May 6th, 2013. I'm Kevin McShann, and this is the McShann Sports Beat Report.
Rolling down Imperial Highway, the big nasty red at my side. Santa Ana winds blowing hot from the north. We were born to ride. Roll down the window, put down the top, crank up the Beach Boys, baby. Don't let the music stop. We gonna ride it till we just can't ride it no more. From the side bay to the valley, from the west side to the east side, everybody very happy, 'cause the sun is shining all the time. It's like another perfect day. I love LA. We love it. I love LA. We love it. We love it. Look at that mountain. Look at those trees. Look at that bum over there, man. He's down on his knees. Look at these women. Ain't nothing like them nowhere. Century Boulevard. We love it. Victory Boulevard. We love it. Santa Monica Boulevard. We love it. Sixth Street. We love it. We love it. We love LA.
Clipper star Chris Paul is a free agent. He said he's even going to let his kids weigh in on what happens next, Jackie. But how likely is it that we see him back with the Clippers next season?
Well, of course, the Clippers can pay him more than anybody else going forward. That's always the great advantage you have when you have your free agent in your stable. But if you're Chris Paul, you're looking at this first-round exit, having lost 4 straight games. That's not what you came to L.A. to do. I think it'll be very interesting to see. I think the coaching question is up in the air. We don't know if Vinny Del Negro will be back. Will that make a difference to Chris Paul? You also know that at times he clashed with the younger players on the team. Blake Griffin, he's kind of an in-your-face kind of leader, but I think Blake Griffin's smart enough to understand if he wants to go places, he needs Chris Paul right alongside him.
He should take the money in L.A. He likes being out there. I think he bought
Which LA?
The Clippers.
Okay.
They could give him the most money if he went to the Lakers. He'd stay in the same place, but it would cost him about $30 million. I don't think that's worth it. But let me say this. Outside of my frustration, because obviously with the Lakers and the Clippers gone, it severely interrupts my plans. I'm very, very disgusted by that, but that's a story for another
Still
day.
got San Francisco. You got Golden State.
Yeah, but that ain't LA.
no.
That ain't LA.
Yeah.
Not my flavor. Other people could choose San Fran. That's not my flavor.
Yeah.
Let me go on.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. If you're CP3, we said this last week, you got to make a decision. CP3, I can tell you, the CP3 that I've spoken to on several occasions this season wants no part of being involved with the coaching decisions, personnel. He doesn't want to be known as that dude. Doesn't want to have anything to do with it, and keeps his hands clean from all of that. I applaud it. I respect it. It's not possible. CP3 is a superstar in this game. And I'm telling you, a superstar in terms of his ability to be a point guard, to steward a team. He's on an elite level. Didn't look that way against Memphis, no doubt about it, because he hasn't been having help. Obviously, DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin are both limited, Skip. As you well know, they can't pull anybody away from the basket, so him getting to the basket, he's got to operate amongst trees, which inhibits his ability to produce efficiently, and that is a problem for him. It's incredibly frustrating, which I think contributed to the shot that he gave Gasol the other night, which you will elaborate on, I'm sure. Here's what's going on. The Los Angeles Clippers are going to have to make some decisions. They had their exit interview Saturday. Vinny Del Negro and the coaching staff, from what I'm being told, is scheduled to meet probably today with the management, if not tomorrow. I think Vinny Del Negro has done a good job, winning 17 straight during the season, winning 7 straight to end out the season. But I don't believe he's going to keep his job. I believe.
Is this news?
Let me finish.
Okay.
I believe that is a factor. Is it possible that he could stay? Sure. But from what I'm hearing, it's not looking good for him right now. Here's what's going on. If you remember, before the trading deadline, there were rumors about Eric Bledsoe and a DeAndre Jordan for KG. Kevin Garnett in Boston. KG wouldn't waive his trade clause.
Yep.
No trade clause, rather. So now you have a situation where KG, I was in Boston the other night. They lost to the New York Knicks. Sad to see him crying when he walked out the game. Hurt me, but it is what it is. KG has to make a decision. He might retire. He might waive his no trade clause. He said a lot of his decision is contingent upon Paul Pierce. From what I am hearing that it is possible, Skip, that the Clippers, because Boston's going to probably ask for Blake Griffin. You want KG that bad? Blake Griffin. Now, obviously, KG ain't enough. You package KG with Paul Pierce. That still isn't enough. But the opportunity for them to play together is something both would love to continue to do.
Okay.
But it gets very interesting, Skip, if you let go of your coach and you say, Doc Rivers, we'd like you to come with KG and Paul Pierce.
A whole package?
Doc Rivers, he's under contract. Boston would have to grant permission. But if they're retooling, rebuilding, he likes to win. Doc Rivers was sick to his stomach that they lost this series. He wants to win, but there's very things in life that he loves less. More than coaching KG and Paul Pierce. He loves those dudes, and they love him. Paul Pierce is from Cali. KG's got a house in Malibu.
He does.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm telling you that this is what's hitting the rumor mill. That ultimately a package involving Blake Griffin, Eric Bledsoe, and Caron Butler, essentially for KG, Paul Pierce, and Doc Rivers. I'm not saying it's going to happen because, so much has to happen. I'm telling you it's going to be talked about. I'm telling you it's already being talked about in NBA circles, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility of it happening.
Is it being talked about between the Clippers and the Celtics?
I don't know if I'm prepared to say definitively that, because Boston just lost this season this Friday. I think it's going to happen. It wasn't happening in February. That was just KG, and that involved Eric Bledsoe and potentially DeAndre Jordan. But now that Chris Paul is a free agent, Chris Paul is going to be in a position where he's able to say, well, what are we going to do? Now, he may not say Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, or I want this guy, that guy, but he is in a position to say, you want me to commit to you long term? Sure. Exactly what are you planning on doing? And this is something that Vinny Del Negro desperately wanted, because he believed if KG was there, then they would have gone to the finals, because you have a situation, that's what he's told his confidants, because you have somebody that could pull dudes away from the basket, which would give Chris Paul an opportunity to operate. But they lost in the first round. All right, even though they won the Pacific Division, and I think Vinny Del Negro did a good job, and I do not believe he deserves to be fired. We don't know what the Clippers are going to do, but with the Lakers vulnerable and you being the Clippers and desperate to make a splash and desperate to keep CP3, hey, anything's possible.
So do the Celtics have to take Vinny as their coach?
No. Just letting you know. I'm just letting you know.
All right.
This is what's being talked about.
Okay. So in the end, if the Clippers wind up with Doc, which would be a big coup for them.
Huge.
I'm not sure how big a coup it would be to get KG and Paul at this stage of their career.
To add to CP3.
Okay, I just don't know. What are you looking at? One more year?
Well,
maybe?
Yeah, 1 or 2 more years, I know.
One?
To me, you want to hold on to Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
But that don't mean Boston and Danny Ainge won't ask. Danny Ainge is always trying to pull off a heist. And remember, even though he had his best friend Kevin McHale in the front office in Minnesota, my goodness, that was a heist. Even though, listen, he got KG from Minnesota to Boston. Danny Ainge looks for deals like this.
The reason it wouldn't be a heist for the Celtics is because Blake Griffin is not a superstar. He's a near star to me, but Bledsoe can be a really good player in this league, and Karan still has a lot of basketball left. So if you're going to lose Paul and KG possibly for nothing because they're just going to walk away and retire, wouldn't you rather have those three to restart with? Yeah, I would. I'd do that. Because I think Doc is a little burned out in Boston. It seems like he would like a change of scenery at this point in his career.
It's possible.
So,
it's possible.
Okay, I would say it would be a good deal for Boston, maybe not a great deal. And I'm not sure it would be a great deal for the Clippers.
Okay.
I'm not sure because you'd have one hurrah. You'd have one shot next year. And then after that, I don't know where you'd go.
Motivation of your loyalty, coupled with the appeal of your personal preference, is what will ultimately steer the ship and fuel the engine of determination in the right direction when you're faced with the prospect of making a decision. And for Los Angeles Clippers point guard Chris Paul, he's reached that juncture in his career as for the first time he's reached free agency and now must determine the next step in his professional future. Paul declined a chance to sign a 3-year extension worth approximately $60 million with the Clippers last year. However, this summer he'll have a second bite of the apple if he wishes. If he signs a maximum contract for 5 years at approximately $108 million if he decides to stay in Tinseltown. He says he'll consider all of his options before making a final and definitive decision.
Clippers season came to an end last night in Memphis. Looking back at what you guys were able to accomplish, the highs and the lows of it, how do you reflect?
I don't know. I really haven't even had time to reflect. I'm just still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that we're done.
You got a big summer ahead too. You've got a lot of decisions on your plate. What goes into your decision-making process?
Man, I don't know. This is the first time I've been in a situation of actually being a free agent. So, like I said, all season long, I wouldn't address that until after the season. Not even 24 hours from the season being over, so I haven't even thought about it.
Now, going forward, what are your goals, or what do you take from this experience from this last season for your own personal growth?
You learn, and you don't want this feeling again. It's frustration, somewhat embarrassment, because as good as our team was, there's no reason why we should be home right now, and it just has to push you, has to motivate you to work harder. That's what it's doing for me. I'm eager to get back in the gym and come back better next year.
You mentioned working harder. How long are you going to take before you get back into the gym? I mean, do you take time to rest your body, or you get right back to work?
My mind's telling me to get right back to work. You gotta rest a little bit, enjoy your family, enjoy my kids for a few days, but I can't get away from it too long, especially the fact that my body feels good. The last show, I had surgery after the Olympics, so while I'm alive and well, I just love to play, so I'm in the gym.
How do you take advantage fully of a healthy offseason then?
I don't know, I think for me, it's so busy during the regular season with all the travel and stuff like that, the first thing I think about when the season is over is my family, because they sacrifice so much for me during the season that my summer is their time.
Enjoy the family then.
You know it, man. Thank you.
Despite leading the Clippers to a record-setting year, which included the franchise's first divisional title and a record 56 wins, Paul was still stinging from the hurt of being eliminated in the first round of the playoffs yet again. In his career, he's either missed the playoffs entirely or been eliminated in the first round of contention a total of 6 times. As Paul weighs his options and considers where he wants to play for the next 5 years of his career, he reiterated during his post-game press conference following the Game 6 loss to the Grizzlies of Memphis that having an opportunity to compete for an NBA title and playing well into June will weigh heavily on his mind when he makes the final call.
Had you ever been ejected from a postseason game before, and what happened there in that sequence?
No, never. What happened? We was small, you know what I mean? We had our smallest guys in the game, and Chauncey said, I'm going to box out the shooter, and he asked me to go down and help on Marc Gasol, and then I went to go help Matt. Next thing you know, I'm in the locker room.
Chris, how do you put the season in context? How long does it take to focus on what you guys were able to accomplish instead of focusing
None of that means nothing. Our season is over. Like, there's nothing great to take away from it. It is what it is. We lost. First, I want to give a lot of credit to Memphis. You know what I mean? Wish them the best of luck. They played a great series. They played hard, and I wish them the best in the next round.
Chris, Ron Higgins, commercial appeal, Memphis. I know the concentration was on Gasol and Randolph, but talk about Tony Allen, how much he kind of hurt y'all tonight unexpectedly.
Yeah, he hurt us tonight. He had 16 points in the first half, and T.A. is known mainly for his defense. You know, defensive player of the year, if you ask me. But it's hard to contain him because you're worried so much about Zebo and Mark, and he's always cutting and moving and offensive rebounding. And it's one of those games. We took too long to come to the fight. You know, we waited at Game 6 to start to play aggressive and match their intensity. And, you know, I don't even know how many free throws they shot tonight, but maybe more than field goal attempts that we got.
Chris, Andre Johnson, Memphis Sport Magazine. You and I talked early in the season, and you talked a bit about how devastating the sweep to San Antonio was last year. Does this hurt more than the
Shoot, yeah. I mean, it's both of them. I hate to lose, no matter what it is, but it's got stings. You know what I mean? It's the worst. I mean, I ain't have nothing planned till after June as far as camps and nothing like that. I ain't got nothing to do. I'm spending a lot of time with my kids and my family, which is all good and well, but all I know is basketball, and we done.
Chris, you've been stopped before early. Is this? I know last year you got to the second round. You've been to the second round before. Does it feel like you just keep banging your head against that wall?
Yeah, this is terrible. This is terrible. No, got a lot of time to think. Tell you that much. Got a lot of time to think. Try to figure out what we could have did more in this series, but you know, Game 6, we decided to come to the fight. Game 6 with our back against the wall, and it's too late.
Hey, Chris, 3 Shades of Blue. Lee Smith, talk a little bit about how it was matching up against Mike Conley in this series.
It was cool. Like I said, I've known Mike since he was in high school. Hosted him on his visit when he came to Wake. Keeps getting better and better. You know, he's tough. He's tough because, you know, you got to deal with those two guys, and then he picks his spots when he's going to be aggressive. Tonight we doubled off of him, so he had all night to line up shots and stuff like that. So wish him the best of luck going forward.
Chris, Therese Walker again. In this round, there seems to have been a lot of trash talking in some of the other series. How do you think it kind of went in this series between you all and the Grizzlies?
It was cool. It was a hard-fought series. You know what I mean? Both teams was aggressive. You know, a good friend of mine before I walked in here told me to just be careful what I say. So I'll be cool. I'll save it. I got kids to feed. Thanks for telling me that, too, because I was ready. Whew.
Well, to follow up just a little bit, you've got time to think, as you mentioned, your future. How much of the thinking involves your situation, whether you return to the Clippers or if you maybe seek what might be out there?
Well, I got a lot of time, like I said, to think about that, and as I do with any decision in my in my life. I'll consult with my wife, my parents, my brother, my family. I might even let little Chris chime in on it. So we'll see what happens.
Sugar Scarlets with AM 990.
Let Leon tell me what to do.
How frustrating is it when you kind of cut the lead and you come that close? It was 8 points, 10 points. I mean, and you kind of did not get that into the rhythm.
Yeah, that's the toughest part is that, we cut it to 5. We cut it to 5 at one point. Heck, I missed 3 free throws a night, which is uncharacteristic. Just the timing of the shots that they made or the fouls. We just... Every time we got close, somebody made a big shot or it was a foul. Early in the game, we talked about the first quarter. We had to play aggressive and try to stop fouling as much, but we sort of kept fouling. And I think the toughest part about losing this game and it being over, too, is Grant Hill. Grant Hill is a guy that I grew to love, and, man, I just love everything about G. And don't know if this is it for him, but I didn't want him to go out like this. But the way he got out there and fought tonight, I appreciate him for that.
Chris, what did you think of Matt's performance tonight and kind of finally having a wing player kind of step up? And
Matt was amazing tonight. His energy defensively, offensively, just running and pushing. And I just hate that it was game 6. Game 6, like I said, we got to the fight too late. Because tonight I felt like we were the aggressors. We had them back on their heels and just couldn't pull it out.
In the 2013 playoffs, Paul averaged 22.8 minutes, 4 rebounds, 6.3 assists. He was on the floor for 37.3 minutes and shot 53.3%. As for the regular season, Paul's stat line looked like this. He participated in 70 games. He averaged 33.4 minutes, 9.7 assists, 3.7 rebounds. He picked the pocket of opposing offenses 2.4 times, and he averaged 16.9 points per contest. Clippers high-flying center Blake Griffin signed a $95 million 5-year extension with the club last summer, and he said that he and his teammates will attempt to advocate and persuade Paul to remain as the Clippers floor general later this summer. He's a huge part of our team moving forward, Griffin said. He's going to know that we want him back and would love for him to resign and keep moving forward with this franchise. But ultimately, this is his decision. He has to do what's right for him and his family, and we're going to be behind him. Paul was instrumental in recruiting several role players to suit up for the Clippers this offseason, including Matt Barnes, formerly of the Los Angeles Lakers, and veteran journeyman Grant Hill. And he was also a major contributing factor in convincing Chauncey Billups to convert to shooting guard in order for him to start alongside Paul. The accumulation of talented assets is what will ultimately lead to sustainable and tangible success moving forward in the NBA. If you don't have players and the marketplace in which to entice them to play, then your chances of competing in the association are drastically reduced. With that being said, Chris Paul has certainly led the renaissance for the other team in Tinseltown, putting the Clippers back on the national map and into the national conversation of relevance when it comes to title contenders. And the only way to sustain that productivity over a long period of time is developing a structure and a game plan that entices those talented pieces to stay exactly where they are and not to explore greener pastures in other organizations. With all that in mind, the Clippers have one major carrot in their basket as they attempt to persuade Paul to continue to lead the purple and white in Hollywood. Having the ability to offer him the most financial security is certainly an enticing carrot in which they can dangle in front of Paul. However, as the old adage always goes, money doesn't always buy you happiness, and the Clippers will have to do more than simply just open their wallet to prove to Paul that they're committed to winning in the here and now and over the long term if they want to have any shot of keeping him in a Clippers uniform. Los Angeles is one of the biggest markets the NBA has to offer to its fans, partners, and sponsors alike, and having both the Lakers and the Clippers relevant in the grand scope of the league is a good thing for David Stern and company. Furthermore, there's no doubt that the Clippers have surpassed the Lakers when it comes to being relevant and competitive in the league. However, for Paul, surpassing the Clippers' chief divisional rival simply isn't enough to make him a Clipper for life. And now the ball is in the Clippers' court as they work to examine their roster, make their next move, and keep Paul in the fold. One thing is for certain, we're all in for an intriguing summer, and Clippers management, fans, and the league alike will all be sweating bullets to find out exactly where Paul will land. The clock is now ticking, and all eyes will be synchronized on Paul to see exactly what he ultimately decides to do. Kevin McShane, Sports Beat, report.